Oh, well, there you go.
Yep.
Sorry, guys, we had a little bit of a shutdown. For some reason, our Facebook feed shut down, but we are back up now. I believe so. Let me check here. I'm going to bring it up, Weber. And we were talking about Justin Verlander. So, what are your thoughts on the no-hitter today?
Well, I mean, as I said before, he's a unicorn. He might be the most unique player in the game today, in that he every time he goes to the mound, he looks to pitch a complete game, go as far as he wants, and I don't think there's anybody on that team who's telling him when he's going to come out. No matter who it is, even a guy like Jacob deGrom, you get to the fifth inning, and they're plotting when it is that they're going to take him out. Verlander, he's the exception to that rule. He pitches without any rules, and as a result, you can get this kind of thing happening at the age of 36 or 37. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is. And I think, like you said, he's going to pitch at least another 3-4 years. I mean, he could add to that resume. He could throw another no-hitter, another perfect game, anything. I know he hasn't thrown a perfect game yet, but he's the kind of guy that, we're having all kinds of technical difficulties tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, whoa. All right, there you go. You're back. I got you, bud. So, as I was saying, he's the type of guy that he pitches, he throws hard. He still throws pretty hard, but he also throws and he commands the strike zone. It's not just going wherever it's going. I mean, he has a good command.
And I also, he's not throwing as hard as he can. I mean, that's, I think, one of the things that distinguishes him. I watched a couple of these relief pitchers in recent days, and the reality is when you only have to pitch one inning, you're going to cut loose and throw as absolutely hard as you can for that one inning. And the truth of the matter is that at that level, you're probably going to throw more strikes than balls. And
did I lose you again? Holy moly, what is going on right now? This is insane. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hang tough. I'm trying to figure out what's going on right now. So... So, anyway, I'm trying to bring Tommy Weber back on. So give me a second here. And I think we lost our Facebook feed again. Hey, you back? This is crazy.
And he's the reason the Astros have their one World Series victory. The only reason why they got over the hump a couple of years ago is because they acquired him at the break.
That is absolutely correct, and I think that's why they're one of the top contenders this year.
No doubt.
And I think the Yankees are going to have a tough time with them, especially because they got guys like Verlander, and they also put the ball in play and they play decent defense. So.
Yeah, and they're going to score against the Yankees. When you rely on your bullpen that much, I don't know. I just think the Yankees can be scored. They're starting pitching. You could score runs against them. Mm-hmm. And as much as they can shorten the game with that bullpen, they usually are on the winning end because of their ability to score a lot of runs and hit a lot of home runs. When you face a guy like Verlander and the rest of that pitching staff, I'm not so sure that's going to happen.
Yep. All right, so I'm looking at our feeds, and everything seems to be up and working fine now, which was crazy. Brian O'Neill joined. Thank you, Brian O'Neill, for joining. Good to see you. I hope everything's going well. I hope you're having a great Labor Day. So let's talk playoffs then, Webbs. Let's get into that now.
Okay.
We were just talking about the Yankees and the Astros. Who do you think has got the best chance to make the wild card? And we'll start with the American League. I see Tampa is at the top, and Cleveland is right behind them. And the next closest team is Oakland, who's only a half a game back. So of those three teams, who do you think's got the best opportunity? I think Boston's too far out. They're 5 games back with a month to play.
Yeah, Boston's going to need a lot of help. I think they got started too late, probably a couple of weeks too late. Had they picked it up a couple of weeks before that, they would have been the team I picked. I love Terry Francona, so I'm hoping Cleveland. I tell you what, Oakland's good.
Yeah, they are.
Oakland is not bad at all.
They have a good team.
You know, they battled with the Yankees in this 3-game series. They could have swept that series.
Yep.
And I mean, those are the kinds of games that the Yankees are going to play in the playoffs. And I got to tell you, I'm just not sure that these late inning heroics are going to happen for them, and they're going to be able to rely on that. So I'm going to go with Terry Francona. He's the best manager in baseball as far as I'm concerned, and there's just something about Cleveland that I really like. I love Lindor; he's my favorite player, and I like the way Francona holds them accountable, and they play for him. They like that. Players like that.
Excellent. I've got Cleveland or Oakland. Tampa Bay, I just don't think they have that the it factor. To be honest with you, I think Oakland and Cleveland, like you said, Cleveland has the advantage with the best manager.
Yep.
You know, I don't see that changing. Boston, yeah, if Boston had a better April, but they had a terrible April, and it put them way too far behind. Renee says Cleveland, and then he comes back and says Oakland, and then Brian O'Neill says Oakland and Cleveland. So it seems like we're all on the same page as far as what teams are going to be in the playoffs. I think Tampa is going to be on the outside looking in. All right, so let's take a look at the National League. You've got Washington at the top, 4.5 up. So I think they're solidified in that slot right there. They're not going to catch Atlanta. I think they're too far behind Atlanta. The Cubs are next. You got Philadelphia 3 games behind, Arizona 3 games behind, Milwaukee 3 games behind, and the Mets 3.5. And after tonight, it'll be 2.5, and Philadelphia will be 4. Philadelphia stinks, man. Oh my
Philadelphia's
God.
terrible.
They are.
Now I'll say this. Here's why the Mets don't have to worry about Philadelphia. Gabe Kapler is the antithesis of Terry Francona.
He is the exact opposite. It's terrible.
He is in so far. The National League has a couple of guys that are in so far over their heads. I mean, you just watch a game and it just seems like Gabe Kapler is making a point when he manages. Like, he's not managing; he's trying to prove something. Yeah. And you know, he's terrible. And they're also a bad team.
Yeah, he's trying to prove that he's smarter than the last 160 years of the game.
Yeah, that's dangerous. But there's a lot of that in baseball. We've talked about that a lot. There is a lot of that in baseball. That it seems to be a sentiment in front offices. You know, that we've got it now. You know, and anybody who came 5 years or earlier has no clue. So I just can't. I have no faith in the Phillies. None.
No, me neither. I'm a Philly fan.
You know, the Mets.
It's terrible.
The Mets have kind of hung tough. I give them credit. I just think, you know, again, I've said this a million times, and they pushed all their chips into the middle of the table, and they didn't have a very strong hand. And I still believe that they would have been better off selling in the long term. I thought they should have sold last year. It sold big, and they didn't. And now you have what might turn out to be another year where you're basically going to be the same team you were last year, next year, and you're not going to get into the playoffs. So, you know, the Cubs. I think the Cubs have pedigree. The Cubs have good players. You know, Baez and that whole crew. I have to like the Cubs for some reason. I don't know why. I just do. And I'll tell you what. The drop off in the National League from the 2 best teams in the league to everybody else is big. Huge. It's really big.
It's very big. I don't think anybody's going to take the Dodgers out anyway.
But I love Atlanta.
Atlanta
like
is good.
Atlanta. I
They're
like
scrappy.
their manager. I think he does a good job. I think he made his bones when he benched that kid a couple weeks ago, running, and then called him out when they asked him. He was honest. He said, "We run around here." He didn't run, and that's why he's out of the game. We run here. And
when Kapler had that opportunity, Kapler had the same opportunity earlier in the season, and he did not do that. And
you lose your club, as you know.
And everybody lost respect for him for that.
And
now it's over. It's over for Kapler. He's gone. There's no question about it. I think he's out after the season.
I've been around, as so have you. I've been a couple of instances I can remember, one pretty recent, where you know the minute he's lost the team. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're listening and the sign, you know, it's either something you say or something they fail to say. and it's deafening, and you realize, oh man, he just lost everybody. There's no walking that stuff back. And Kapler, he wants to be touchy. Again, I think you're right about Kapler. I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think Kapler thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's going to prove it all the time. And he's touchy-feely, he's progressive, and he's current, and he's hip, and he's going to be unemployed, I think, at the end of the year.
And it's backfired in his face.
Yeah,
so
big time.
Essentially, what he is he's the Chip Kelly of baseball. So he is. That's what he is in Philadelphia.
That's a good one.
He's the Chip Kelly of baseball. Chip Kelly came in and tried to reinvent football at the professional level, and they ran, and he was done. Where's he now?
Baseball changes. The games change, but human nature doesn't. So when you have a collection of 25 guys and 7 or 8 coaches and trainers and traveling party, that's whatever, you still have to deal with that dynamic, irrespective of whatever it is that the newest thing is in baseball, whether it's analytics or whatever. At the end of the day, it's about how you deal with the personalities on your ball club and give yourself the best opportunity to win. So if you can't do that and he can't, it really doesn't matter how much data you have, because everybody's got the same data, let's face it, when it's all said and done.
Tommy, did you need that data when you were playing? Do you need it now?
Well,
when you go to a game, I could watch it for 2 seconds and know who's going to pull the ball and who's going to hit the ball the other way.
Yeah, I get it. I like first-person data. I like to react to what I see, and that's how I encourage my players. That's why I hate to hear guys ask other hitters, what has he got?
Yep.
Well, you should be watching him and gleaning yourself what it is that you're seeing, because I may have a bias. We've talked about this before. I may hate the breaking ball, so I think everybody's breaking ball is Nolan Ryan's curveball. But obviously that's because I have a curveball phobia, or I don't like, the ball in, and whatever. So I think that data is good, but data is not God. That's all. That's all I can say. And what's happened is it's become a crutch for a lot of guys, such that if they don't have the data, they feel like they're naked on the field, like they're not prepared, that nothing is further from the truth. If you turned off all the computers, all of them, for a season, I don't believe, and I know this won't happen, I don't believe you'd have much different results in any department. I think the players would ostensibly figure it out. The field is finite, right? You can only be between the white lines, so you only have to handle that very finite piece of real estate. How off could you possibly be in positioning yourself? You're not going to play. The left fielder is never going to stand on the left field line, and I don't think the center fielder is ever going to stand next to the left fielder. That's never going to happen.
I saw something that happened last week, though, where you're going to go, what? All right, so here's the deal, and you probably saw the replay as well. It was a Houston game. First baseman is standing on the base holding a runner. Here comes the pitch, right? They got the shift on. Here comes the pitch. He comes off the bag, a rocket down the line, right under his glove. So you're thinking it's going into the corner for a double. Altuve standing right on the line, playing right there. Fields it right in front of him, squared it up just like this, catches it, and the first baseman had his head down because he thought it was a double down the line. And then he threw it, and the first baseman realized it was coming and caught the ball and just got the guy out. I'm like, why is Altuve playing on the right field line? Why?
Yeah, I mean, they'll hang their hat on that, too.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, there you go.
Yeah, but in a game today, 4 guys came up in the Twins game, in the Twins against whoever they were playing today, right? Because they were talking about all the home runs the Twins hit because they broke the record yesterday, a month before the end of the season. So 4 guys came up in a row, and they had the shift on, and they all hit the ball the opposite field. Boom, for a base hit where nobody was playing. 4 of them in a row. So it works and it doesn't work. I think it all averages out, basically, in the end.
And if it doesn't, what's the net gain? I'm not really sure. And I would have to think that since human beings, the only thing that we do better than the rest of the animal kingdom is we adapt, that guys are going to have to, just by nature of the beast, they'll adapt eventually and start hitting the ball the other way and nullify the shift. I mean, you're going to have. Why wouldn't you? I mean, the guy who could come up and spray the ball around becomes one of the most valuable guys in the game because he can hit 350. You got guys who you're crowning MVPs that are hitting under 230. They talk about players who are under 230 because you have 32 home runs and 71 RBIs. Like you're the second coming, and I just think that makes for a very, very unbalanced, difficult way to sustain, especially in a short series like in the playoffs.
You made a comment on social media the other day about.
Oh God.
Yes, you did. You made a comment. Batting average and how it doesn't matter when the guy's hitting 230, but when he comes up later in the game, you're worried about the average at that point in time.
Right, you're worried. Nobody wants to pitch. Everybody says batting average doesn't mean anything. I don't know how that could be, because if I get a hit 40% of the time, that's important. Batting average is important. If you're only getting a hit 15% of the time, unless you're going to hit 85 home runs, you're a bad player. And I said, well, batting average means nothing to anybody anymore. Yet, the one thing they cite as reasons for not allowing a pitcher to go a third time through the order is
batting average.
Third time through the order is teams are hitting 328 against them. Well, you can't have it both ways. Batting average to me is incredibly important because you can't drive in a run with a walk 9 times out of 10. So your on-base percentage, while important, isn't as big as your batting average, because your batting average can drive in runs. If you have a high batting average, you could drive runs in. Hits drive in runs.
Because you're putting the ball in play, and guys can run the bases.
Correct.
So here to add to that point, I was watching the Phillies game the other day, and Rhys Hoskins was leading off, right? He's a number 4 hitter. He's a cleanup guy. He's a 4-5, 3-4-5 guy, maybe 6 if he's not going good, right? But Gabe Kapler's got him leading off, and he's got Harper hitting right behind him in the 1-2 spot, right? Now, I understand the thinking behind that, because later in the game, they'll hit again. They might get a chance to hit more often and win the game for you with a home run or whatever, for whatever reason. But they were talking about, the guy on MLB Network was talking about how many walks Rhys Hoskins has. I don't pay Rhys Hoskins to walk. I pay Rhys Hoskins to drive in runs. And how do you do that? And his average is 230, right?
Well,
so he gets on base. His on-base percentage is good, right? He gets on base because he walks a lot. But he hits 230. So if he was hitting 300 and walked like he did, I would say, great. I would be like, I wouldn't have a problem, right? But as a leadoff guy, I need a guy that can run. I need a guy that can create havoc and put pressure on the defense, get on base, and have that threat.
Table setter.
Yeah. And then when he's on base, then my 3 and 4 guy can come up and hit a 2-3 run homer instead of just a solo homer. Now I'm up 2 or 3 runs. Mentally, that has a different effect on the team you're playing than if you just hit a solo home run. I just think it does.
In the National League, I think it's got less merit, even more so in the National League. And here's why. Number one, if you lead him off, you know this much. He's going to get 162 at-bats where he can only drive himself in. Yeah. So he can't drive in 2 runs in those 162 at-bats. Number 2, if you want to get him up one more time, I understand. But here's the thing. He's following, in the National League, 8 and 9, which is as weak as it gets. It's not like the American League where you have a DH, so 8 and 9 are pretty good hitters.
Exactly.
He's following the pitcher a lot. So I'm just not sure that for a guy who can hit the ball out of the park and drive in runs, that you want him hitting 162 times where he can't drive in anybody but himself, and where an awful lot of times he's got to hope the pitcher gets on or the pitcher extends the inning. I'm just not sure the math works out.
At least 2 times in the National League game, most times, the pitcher gets to hit twice. Right. So yeah, he's got to extend the inning for you.
Right. And whoever's hitting in front of the pitcher is not usually a good hitter. It might be like the catcher or a weak hitting player, right? Somebody who's not really a big hitter. So, again, I think a lot of this, I think there's like this simmering rage that these progressive baseball guys have. They're pissed, and they're going to make sure that you you agree to this, whether it's right or wrong, and they don't really want to come to the table sort of trying to reach a middle ground. This is a revolution that's happening in the game. It really is. And there's not a lot of room for dissent. And that, to me, is never a good thing.
Well, I watch these Phillies games, and it drives me insane that Rhys Hoskins, who's struggling mightily right now, is in the leadoff spot. Well, they moved him out. And when they moved him out, exactly what did he do? On Wednesday night, when I went to the game, he was 2 for 4. He had a triple his first at bat, got the scoring started. He plays much better. He's more comfortable in the 4 or 5 slot, 3, 4, or 5 slot. Some hitters are.
I agree.
Right? And some hitters thrive at the leadoff spot. They really do. You put them in the leadoff spot and they get things going. Maybe they're a first pitch fastball hitter and they swing at that first pitch, put it in play, and use their wheels. So I don't know. I just think that Gabe Kapler, he's one of the worst managers in the league. Somebody mentioned earlier that Dave Roberts was the worst. He's pretty bad, but I think Gabe Kapler has him beat at this point.
Yeah, Gabe Kapler was a disaster. That was a terrible hire. I when I look at these guys, I don't think so much about them. I think about who it is that's hired. Did you really interview him and say, wow, this is our guy? This is our guy? This is the guy we want? Wow. You're easily fooled. So, but this is where the game's going. The game is going. I'm sure the first question they ask a guy like that is, what's your perspective on data and its role in the game? And, that's I'm sure he answered that question in a fashion that they wanted him to. And wasn't he director of player development someplace also?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, he was. He was like director of player development someplace. And okay.
So he's walking around, he's got his Fitbit on because he needs all that data, and then he has his phone out because he needs all that data, and then he's got his laptop just in case he needs more data to tell him what. Well,
I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that the most important data that you could get as a manager in game is to watch the game.
Yeah.
To watch the game. I mean, you want to take a look at tendencies and what a guy's hitting against a certain guy and who they're going to bring up next and lefty and all that stuff. I get it, but I mean, you cannot be so immersed in the numbers such that, with every pitch, you're thinking about a different strategy. I don't see that in any way as being productive. I don't.
All right, so one more thing about the game that I went to on Wednesday night, and then we're going to get into one of the biggest faux pas of baseball fashion in the history of the game. But first, I'm at the Phillies game. It's first and second, no outs. One of their Hernandez is up, shortstop, right? He comes up. Oh, no, the second base. He was playing second base that night. And the third baseman for the Pirates is playing in shallow left field. The game's only a 3-run lead at this point in Philly. What do? No outs. Guy can bunt. He's a good bunter. The third baseman is on the grass, Webbs. He's on the grass.
You need base runners.
Yeah. You got a man on first and second. No outs. What do? I'm coming up and just boom, dropping it right down.
Yep.
Now we got bases loaded, and here come, guys that can, drive in runs.
Yep.
It blows my mind. I'm just sitting there. I just don't get it. I don't understand why they don't take what's given. They're gonna give you that. Take it. Do you want to win? That's my question. Do you really want to win?
Right. You're only getting hit 25% of the time. So
yeah.
Your chances of getting hit here are probably 60% because all you got to do is put the ball in play
to that side of the field,
anywhere to that side of the field,
and it's a hit. You don't even have to hit it.
I hate to talk in probability, but you would have to have a higher probability of bunting a ball towards the left side of the field than you do of getting a hit, because getting a hit you only do 25% of the time.
It's crazy. Brian O'Neill put a comment up. Did we see the second baseman on Oakland miss the bag because he was worried about Gardner's slide?
Yes.
I did not see that. I was not watching the game. Go ahead, Webbs. What'd you think about it?
Well, look, I think you've changed the whole middle of the infield play now, and I think guys are, I don't know. I think guys don't really know, number one, what a clean slide is anymore. That definition is gone, and in reality, is that really what replay is supposed to be? Is replay really supposed to be about that play? Or is it supposed to be about the egregious mistake, like, Jim Joyce or Don Denkinger, the one that costs a game? these replay now, most replays are on the really close play.
Yeah.
Where a team figures, why not? Why not? And I still say that replay should be called by a player involved, and it's got to be done immediately. Otherwise, you can't do it. Then the players would stop lobbying every single close play for the manager to ask for a replay.
Yeah.
And the game, the pace of the game, you never know if the guy's out of save. Do you come off the field? Now, I don't know how anybody sees that. I don't know how anybody in Major League Baseball looks at that and says, this is good optics.
Yeah. Brian came back on. I don't think they know footwork around the bag anymore because the new rules protect them. There is that. I was going to ask that.
They have no footwork.
They
Why
don't have any footwork. You don't need to come across the bag and clear. No. You don't need to back off. You don't need to use the bag as protection.
You don't need
anymore.
To be nimble. You don't need to be. There's no more dance around the bag. You might as well just sit there, wait for the throw, and throw it. And that's what they do. So they now are less ready they're less ready to react to a guy who, and this is very rare, who is on top of them and going to make contact with them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when you're playing short, and you know it, and anybody who's played the middle infield knows it, when you got somebody bearing down on you, and you know who they are and coming at you, like Renee says, we don't have anybody play second base like Willie Randolph that was willing to get knocked into left field. Look, I wasn't willing to get knocked into left field, but I will tell you this, I did get knocked into left field a few times, and it made me get my footwork down so I could get there and get out of the way before I got knocked into left field.
I would submit that it's actually another rule that, under the auspices of making players safe, has actually put players in more peril. Because what it's done now is it's made players have no way to defend themselves. So that play is an awkward play where I could see that kid getting hurt because he doesn't know how to defend himself because he doesn't think he has to.
Mm-hmm. So, name one time, Webbs, where you got crushed at second base that you can remember. I got two in my head that I can tell you right now, and I'll never forget them. One was Darryl Boston hit me. And he hit me so hard in Winnipeg. We were playing in the Northern League. He hit me so hard, oh my God, I thought I got hit by a linebacker as I was reaching up for a pass across the middle. He just crushed me. The wind got knocked out of me, and he flipped me. And I was like, holy crap, man. I didn't think I was getting up. But it was legal. It was all, a clean slide. He just hit me, and I just flipped right over and just landed right on my back. Man, it was terrible. And then another time I got taken out in the playoffs by a guy by the name of Brian Duva, played for Florida Gators, but he was playing in the minor leagues at the time. And he hit me so hard one time. I don't even know how I made the double play because I got the ball. As soon as I was letting it go, he hit me, and then I didn't even see the end of the play because I was on the ground, like eating dirt. I can't even remember, but that was two of the times that I got crushed at second base.
I only remember one where I really got. I'm surprised I didn't break my leg. During the strike year, we went and played. We went around playing in the summer, a bunch of teams. There was a team in Pennsylvania, and Dennis Eckersley was pitching for them. Mm-hmm. And they had a whole bunch of guys because these guys are staying sharp. So their whole team was, guys who are professional players.
Sure.
And this guy, I forget his name. He played a little bit in the big leagues. It might have been like Walker or whatever. And a little ground ball to short, second base. And, he was just on me quicker than I thought he was going to be, which is when you get into trouble.
Yep.
And he hit my shin with his knee. And I got to tell you, I thought for sure my leg was, I went over, up, down. And when you hit the ground, like your butt hits the ground first?
Yep.
I was like, oh, man. And this guy, he was like a man. He must have been he must have been 28, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my goodness. Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. It was, but yeah. But you know what? That would have been worse if I didn't know how to protect myself.
To get out of the way, yeah.
Right.
Or at least attempt to get out of the way.
Right. Now you think that you could just stand there, so when somebody does greet you at the bag simultaneously, you're in a very vulnerable, prone position.
Yeah. These guys are coming on going, Ken Arnold does his own stunts, and he barely screams like a girl when stabbed with a pencil. That wasn't a real stabbing, Renee. I'm just saying. That was a fake movie magic, buddy. Movie magic. So one time, though, I will say this. A guy came in to second base, Terry McGriff. You know Terry McGriff? He played for a little while in the big leagues. He was a catcher. He slid into second base, and I was coming across, and my knee hit him right in his helmet.
Yeah, well, I've done that.
Knocked him out.
Yeah,
the guy, he was out like a light. I felt bad, but yeah, that's what you get for coming in.
That's been done inadvertently on purpose.
Yes. Whoops.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's got to suck.
But it happens. It happens. All right, so let's get to this, Webbs. This is the fashion faux pas from last week. Last weekend, I couldn't even watch baseball the whole weekend. It started on Friday. I turned the TV on and I was like, I turned it off. I thought it was just going to be Friday night, but it was Saturday night and Sunday as well. What did you think about these terrible uniforms?
I think the whole notion of the Players' Weekend is absurd. It's juvenile, and it's, again, this kind of... If I was a player as an adult, I don't know, it would kind of strike me as odd that I'm being treated like a 14-year-old and that the buzzword now is fun.
Yeah.
You know, we're redefining what fun is. I guess fun, it's not fun to make $6 million and
exactly
play at the highest level and compete against the best players in the world. You have to have silly uniforms, and they are silly. These were an abomination. The last couple have been silly. There's no point to the uniforms. You know, it'd be one thing if the uniforms were throwback. I love the throwback uniforms. You know,
they're great. Yeah.
Continuity. Baseball's a game of history and a nod to a period gone by. I think that's great. I love that. These have no point whatsoever. These uniforms this year was just.
I'm bringing them back up. Oh my God! Look at
poking you right in the eye.
Look at that.
Yeah, absurd. First of all, here's the white uniforms. You had no idea. First of all, you don't know who's playing because everybody's wearing the same uniform.
Yeah.
The white
and you couldn't see the numbers because they were white.
See the
white
names
on white.
And numbers. And again, it's not the uniforms. Are you telling me that somebody on Park Avenue at the Major League Baseball office, they're sitting in a room and they say, "Yeah, we got it.
Yeah,
this is what we're going with this year. Great job, Rob Manfred. It's juvenile. I see no. We're redefining fun now. It's like now this is what." I will say this. You're going to see a day, mark my words, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later, where everybody's wearing a different uniform, where it's like golf.
It's terrible.
It's coming.
It's ridiculous. Well, I'm waiting for the logos on the jerseys and all that stuff coming. All the advertising space that we're missing right now.
The other night, the kid that was pitching for the Yankees had white spikes on.
Yeah.
And even the Yankees have sold out. You're at a uniform. Doesn't everybody have to wear the same color spikes?
They do. They should. On the Yankees, anyway. I thought that was the rule.
When George Steinbrenner was alive.
Look, the only team that should wear white spikes are the Oakland A's.
I agree.
That's it. Boom. Done.
And this
Nobody
guy
else.
didn't have. This wasn't white trim or a white heel. Sometimes you see, okay, fine. This was white, like wedding gown white, like the Oakland A's wear. And I'm like, really? So you know what? Why not wear blue spikes or red spikes or green spikes? Because those are the spikes you want to wear. That's how you have your fun. That to you is what's fun now.
Look, it doesn't make sense. Every day is Players' Weekend for the players who play at the Major League level. I'm sorry, but it is. They make so much damn money. If you ain't having fun doing that,
do something else.
Yeah.
It's a free country.
You need to have a Players' Weekend? No.
And don't you want to be treated like an adult?
Please. Yeah.
You're treating them like they're 14, like it's a 14U team, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but then today I had to listen to Oral Hershiser tell me that these are men who play professional sport and you need to treat them as such. Really? Let the kids play?
Yeah.
They almost mobbed Verlander into an injury where he wasn't going to be able to play in the play.
Right. Stupid walk-off celebrations.
Yeah. Right. He almost got collapsed underneath the pile of people because they were all jumping up and down like a bunch of idiots.
Right.
And then he gets hurt and he can't pitch in the playoffs? Thanks, guys. Oh, well. I don't have a problem with that. What about these unis, Webbs? Was it as bad as these bad boys right here? Look at these. Oh, yeah. The Chicago White Sox debacle of 1976.
But they made sense. Those were a nod to a period gone by. Did it work? No.
No.
And they didn't do it because the players, under the auspices of the players were having fun. They did it because the White Sox were
It was
an
hot.
original franchise. It's hot. It just didn't work. Okay, so what? And you know what? They didn't stay with them. They got rid of those uniforms and they moved on. Baseball keeps doubling down on this stupidity.
Did you see the quads on that guy? I don't know who that guy is, but man, that guy's got.
That might be George Order.
It might be. George Order. I know that it looks like Moda behind him. I can't tell who the first base coach is.
Might be Manny Moda.
Yeah.
But I think that might be George Order.
I played against Manny Moda, by the way.
He's 137 years old.
He was, when I played against him, he was in his 70s, Webbs, and that was 25 years ago.
Oh, my God.
He got, one of the minor league things where he comes and he gets an at-bat. He hit a ground ball to third base. It was great.
I'm sure he did.
And then he got thrown out by 100 feet because he just walked back to the dugout. He goes, I'm not running to first base. So anyway, those uniforms. What about these uniforms, right? And by the way, check out this picture. It's pretty cool that, ready? Those uniforms. And the pitcher who's wearing it, J.R. Richards. Woo! Remember J.R.?
Man, he could throw it. Imagine a series where you face J.R. Richard and then Nolan Ryan. Man.
The Phillies had to deal with that in the playoffs, didn't they? I thought so.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they did.
J.R. Richard, man, he was amazing. It's a shame what happened to him. He had a stroke. And
terrible.
Can you imagine the Astros in the early 80s if they had both those guys healthy? Oh,
wow.
That would have been unreal. And then who else came in? Was it Mike Scott who was in the...
Mike Scott was in the mid-80s.
Mid-80s.
Yeah, 86.
Yeah, holy moly. That would have been unreal. Anyway, all right, moving on from those uniforms. I got a couple videos of drills I want to take a look at, and then we'll talk about those drills. One is a fielding drill. It's for infielders. It's they call it the ping pong drill or the tap drill.
Right.
So I want you to take a look at it. It's done by Nate Trotsky of Trotsky Baseball. I kind of like his stuff. So
he's very good. Nate Trotsky is very good. If you want to get drills and check out some really efficient ways to become a more proficient infielder, he is excellent. Excellent.
He is. I think he is. And I watch his videos and I send them to my players and say, hey, these are the drills we're going to do in practice coming up. Check them out so you know what's going on. So let's take a look at this video from Nate Trotsky. It's going to play for about a minute, and then we'll talk about it. And you can talk about it.
I'm never going to come up. My hand will never come off the ground.
I'm not getting the video for some reason. It says
so my hand does not come off the ground.
So I see myself, but I don't see the video.
Okay. You don't see the video?
No, but I know the video.
Okay. Yeah, he's doing
Tilt the wrist back.
The drill where you get down low and
make sure you have about 70% on your back leg, head behind. We're going to go about 60, 40. Tilt the fingers down. Okay. Ball's about even with the foot.
One of the things I like about Nate.
Head's behind ball. Okay. Going to tap. You're trying to keep the bounces short, like we're playing ping pong.
Yes.
Keep the bounce short. Feel it out in front.
And if you watch his videos,
head
you
behind the ball.
realize
Good.
how much more energy defense
bouncing here, I just put my
than
hand here,
offense
so the
in almost
position
every
will
sport.
change
It's
according to where the ball's bouncing.
difficult, to keep your body in that kind of posture, and pivot and move and be efficient with your
Hand
hands.
position out in front and keeping the
Field
bounce short.
the ball,
You don't always field
short,
forward to the ball. A lot of times we
top.
receive it. It just depends what the ball is actually doing. That's just teaching us hand position to keep the bounce.
Defense, fielding is conditioning. You better be in good condition, because if you do it right, as you know, you will get into great baseball shape working on your defense.
Absolutely. The leg strength you need to stay in that position to work through those drills that we just saw.
Very difficult.
It is very difficult to stay in that position and maintain a strong position
And he's
if your
in great
legs aren't
shape.
strong. He's in great shape.
He's in great shape, and the funny thing is that when he does it, you see how good it looks, and then when his players do it, you see how uncomfortable they are.
Yeah, because they don't have that leg strength and they don't have that flexibility.
Right, exactly. And that has to be developed. And look, I work with players who, I say it all the time. All they want to do is hit.
Yep.
All they want to do is hit. And you know what, man? if you could really be a proficient defender at one position where they can't take you off the field no matter what you hit, you're going to spend a lot of time in the game. You really will.
Yeah. I just think that those drills right there, where you're in that position, you're down, your head, and he says in the video, Tommy, to get your head behind the ball.
Yes, big, very important.
Which is big. And a lot of kids don't understand that concept. But as the ball is coming to you, and I'll try to do it on the video here as we're going, but what it means is if the ball is coming here, you want your head almost right behind where that ball's coming.
Well, that's why if you watch,
still need to see it, right?
What he does really well, it's what you have to do, is he gets his weight on that back foot, and then the glove gets in front of him, and then his head gets behind
the glove.
So if he would have dropped the glove, the ball should hit you right in the face.
Exactly. Yeah. But you can't get your face all the way down to the ground, but I understand the concept is to get your face behind the ball.
Correct.
So that's the concept.
Right.
And I try to I was telling my players the other day, because we were doing throwing drills, and I'm like, look, you guys are just standing in one spot and then reaching for a ball.
Right.
Your goal should be to center that ball every single time if you can. So if the ball's off to your right, you should slide over to center it as you go and move your feet, so as soon as you catch it, you can get rid of it.
Another skill that is exhausting and takes coordination, strength, and balance. Throwing is everything.
Playing catch.
Throwing is everything. The thing that impresses me most about elite players is not how far they hit the ball, because they're big. And if you're big, you're going to hit it far. If I'm 6'3", when I make contact, it's going to go far. Big deal. How proficiently they throw the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
It really is. And that's because they're athletic, and they're strong, and they're balanced, and everything happens in sequence, and they've done it 6 billion times.
You ought to see the looks on the faces of my players when I tell them. I say, look, you all, you're going to throw the ball, right? But what do you think the most important part of throwing the ball is? And they look at me and they're like, what? I go, well, playing defense in general, what do you think the most important part of it is? It's using your legs, using your lower half, using your feet to put you in the proper position to throw the ball with accuracy and with something on it.
Right.
And they
you
look
throw
at
the
me
ball
and
with your body, not with your arm.
Yeah, and they just look at me like, what? And I was like, look, most of you are throwing the ball when you field the ground ball, and once you field it, you go to throw it, and then you just stop. You stop, and you just use your arm, and you can't reach first base. Now, let's do this drill where you have to use your legs, and you have to get past this point before you throw it, and let's see how many times you reach the base from here.
I'm shocked.
They're amazed.
I'm shocked.
They're amazed.
When I introduce that, especially to young people, like these 14, 15, like high school kids, early high school kids, I'm shocked how quickly a parent will intercede and ask or remind me, do you really think you should be throwing this much? You really think you should be throwing this much?
Yeah, we should be throwing.
No, don't throw it all. You know what? Don't throw it all. Don't throw it all, So that's the culture now. Don't want him to hurt his arm. Don't want him to throw too much. It'll rust out before it wears out. He should be throwing all the time.
How many times did you miss games because of your arm?
Oh, please.
Your arm was hurt.
Please.
How many times?
It never. First of all, the batting practice pitcher throws 500 pitches a day. He pitches every single day. Every day.
I know.
Come on, really.
I'm 50 years old. I do it every day.
Ridiculous.
I'm pitching.
I don't even want to go down that road, because then kids play 6 months a year, a few times a week. My God, they should be throwing, they should be throwing the ball off the wall. You can't throw enough.
Yeah.
You can't throw enough.
All right. So you can't see the video. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, Tommy. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
I am going to put your face on the video, and so you can see the video as we go. And you're gonna tell me if this works, all right? Because I want you to watch this Pete Rose video and let me know. All right, here we go. I got this, the Pete Rose video. Where are you? I got you over here. All right, I'm gonna add you to the video. Here we go. Let me scale you down. I'm gonna put you in the corner here, and I'm gonna. Let's see. Do we have your audio playing? And we do. So we should be able to hear you as well. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Let me know if you can see this video.
The first thing about hitting that's important is
I have a message on my screen. Unable to receive video.
I look for a fastball.
Want me to come back? Want me to check out and come right back?
You a slider,
see what happens, because I want you to see this video. I think it's pretty good.
Knuckleball,
All right, so we're going to cut Tommy out of here for 1 second, and then we're going to add him back in. Here we go.
I don't know why the hell that is.
All right, he's out. Let's disconnect him. Let's reconnect him. I'm going to bring him back because I want to show this Pete Rose video, and I want Tommy to... Yep, there he is. Hold on. Where are you? There you are. Let's get him back. Let's get him back. All right, Webbs. Where are you? There you are. All right, got you back. So, let me bring you back over. There you are.
But I still can't see you.
You can't.
And there's a red dot in the corner of my box there.
I don't know. I don't know what's going down.
It says unable to receive video and has a yellow triangle.
You have to be fearless.
On my Wirecast.
I mean, if you're scared of getting hit with the ball, forget about it.
Well, anyway, I wanted to show you a video of Pete Rose, but we'll save that video for next week.
Okay.
And we'll do that then. But I also had a video of Pepper. Rex Hudler did a Pepper video where he explains how to play Pepper with kids. It was one of those... what was it, Major League? What was the show we used to watch when we were kids?
This Week in Baseball.
Yeah, This Week in Baseball. I think it was still the latest iteration of it before. Right. I don't think they do it anymore. Do they?
No, they don't.
I haven't seen it.
No.
But Rex Hudler was.
They don't do it anymore because kids don't watch.
Yeah. Well, now they got that Play Ball on MLB Network on Sunday mornings, which is pretty good. I make my son watch. I don't make him watch it, but I turn it on for him.
Right.
And he watches it, and he learns some stuff from it. But all the things that I'm teaching him at practice and in the backyard and things is what they talk about. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, you told us that at practice. And I said, yeah, were you listening?
Well, Ken, I had this conversation with somebody today, and I said to them, you can learn everything you need to know in a very short period of time. There's not a lot. You really don't need to know that much. It's not like rocket science. There's basic stuff you need to know. You got to be able to catch it,
fundamentals,
throw it, catch it,
fundamentals.
Throw it.
Yeah.
Right. There's some fundamental stuff that's kind of self-evident. I mean, if you watch, you realize what it is you have to be able to do, and you need to do those things over and over and over and over and over again. And if you don't do them over and over again, you're not going to be very good at it. So, but that's a hard recipe to give to people because there's no magic bullet and there's nothing that happens quickly. So you got to really enjoy it and do it a lot and do it the same thing over and over and over again. It's like any other skill, and that's never going to change. That's never going to. You could have every Yahoo guy who's got the rap Soto and every other piece of heat sensors on the bat and all this other stuff. When it's all said and done, if you want to really improve, you're going to have to do one thing over and over and over again.
Consistency. But consistency, not the right way, because not everybody does it the same way. So, but consistency. There needs to be a consistency to what you do. That brings you success. There has to be a consistency behind it. So, to get that point across is very difficult to parents and to players nowadays.
Yeah.
It seems to be. I'm having fun. We're back out there. We just started back up this past week, and we did defense all one night. Of course, what did they want to do? They wanted to hit. And then the next night we started again with our throwing because we're going to throw every day. We have to get better at that. There is no question. And what do you think they were asking me the whole time we were throwing? I thought we were hitting today.
I mean, that's never going to change. I get it. Everybody wants
will.
to make noise. Everybody wants to hit. I understand that. But if you want to improve, if you want to play and you want to play a lot in high school, master a position. Be a catcher. Be a shortstop. Be somebody they can't take off the field, even if you're hitting 150.
Yeah. Well, you want to do better than that, but still,
Right.
You're right. But if you're throwing guys out and you're not letting the ball go to the backstop every pitch,
right?
Yeah, you're in the game. I'm putting you out there.
You have a value, and they're not just going to stick you in left field and hope you don't get hit in the head with the ball. I mean, that's you want to be an asset and somebody that contributes. And truth be told, more games are lost because of defense than are won because of hitting at the amateur level.
Absolutely.
You have a team that makes every play, you're winning a lot of games.
Yeah, a routine fly ball, you catch it. Even a difficult fly ball, hitting a gap, you run it down.
Yep.
9 times out of 10.
Right. You play elite defense, you're hard to beat at the amateur level. That's the most important part of the game. It's more important, all things being equal. You got okay pitching and you put the ball in play a little bit. You don't need great hitting. But if you make every play, now your defense becomes your best pitcher and the other team's not scoring runs.
One of the things I told my guys this week, and before we started hitting, I said our philosophy for the fall, and we'll take it into the spring, is I want you guys to be aggressive, and I want you to hunt the fastball. They all looked at me like I was nuts. I was like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? When you see a fastball, I want you swinging. Right. I want you swinging. I want you to take, because we take way too many pitches right down the middle, and don't flinch. You look good taking the pitch, but now you swing at the one that's above your head or outside a foot. Then you're swinging at a changeup or a breaking ball. You see a good fastball, let it go. Let's start swinging. Let's hunt the fastball, and then adjust to anything else. And in that Pete Rose video that I was going to show you, what do you think Pete Rose says?
Hunt fastballs.
Yeah, he doesn't say that, but he says, I'm always looking for a fastball.
Of course.
That's what I'm looking for. I adjust to everything else. Fastball, fastball, fastball. So, but there are hitters out there who don't do that. They guess.
George Brett used to say, and still does to this day, he looked fastball down the middle and tried to hit it up the middle. Mm-hmm. Everything else was a reaction to where the pitch was.
Yes. And that's a good philosophy. That's a good approach.
That's a guy who hit 390.
Yeah. Last guy who flirted with 400.
Yep.
Right? And he was a fantastic hitter. Fantastic. One of the best ever to play the game. So, yeah, I got that's my philosophy for the fall is hunt fastballs. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to get on you. If you take a fastball down the middle, I'm going to say something. We need to be more aggressive. We need to swing at those pitches. We can't take them.
Right. Don't take the first pitch just because it's the first pitch. It may be the best pitch you get to hit.
And we need to know. I sat there and asked them. I had them all. They're all looking at me. They're like, oh, half of them are thinking about Fortnite or whatever else. But I started asking them. I said, what are good hitters counts, guys? Do you know what a good hitters count is? They're like 1-2, 0-2. I'm like, no. One kid goes 3-0. I go, if you were Babe Ruth, I would say yes.
Right.
Are you Babe Ruth? He goes, no. I said, then no. 3-0 is not a good hitter's count. I said, no. 3-1 is really good. 2-1, 2-0, right? And they're like, oh, okay. So you mean you want to have more balls than strikes? Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. So what's a good hitter's count? Is 0-0 a good hitter's count? They're like looking at me, and I go, yes. Anytime when you're not behind, when you're not behind, if you're even or you're not, you're in a good hitter's count. The only time is maybe 2-2, right? 2-2, 1-1.
Right.
Not so great. But 2-1, 2-0, 0-0, anytime there's an O,
swing.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
I agree.
Let's swing the bat, right? Be aggressive. I'm tired of sitting down at third base, sitting there. That's all I ever say. Let's be aggressive. Because I'm not going to give them hitting instruction while you're up there, but I am going to say, let's be aggressive. Let's go. So, how do you get somebody to be aggressive, Webbs? How do you get somebody?
Well, I think the only way to get guys to be aggressive is for them to understand that there is no consequence. The reason why they're not aggressive is because they're afraid. Mm-hmm. They think there's a consequence. There's no consequence. Your parents are still going to feed you. Still going to go to school tomorrow. Nothing's going to change. That's a hard thing to do. It's easier said than done. But if you take away the sense of consequence, then guys can be aggressive. The reason why guys aren't aggressive, the reason why a guy doesn't, hit a shot in golf is he's afraid to go. It's going to go in the water. So what does he do? He lays up.
Yep.
So now you're really screwed because now you got to hit your next shot's got to be really good. So I think the only way that you can get people to be aggressive, well, first you got to, they've got to be good and they've got to know they're good. Most kids don't think that they're very good because they're not. Because they're not seasoned enough. If you're a seasoned, if a kid's playing, you get a kid who's playing every day, and he's a rat and he loves it. That kid is seasoned. He's probably going to be aggressive. But most players aren't. They don't play enough. They don't play enough consecutive days, and they don't play enough, kind of loose baseball for them to be seasoned enough so that they can be aggressive, so that they can think, you know what, I don't care if I make out. I'm going to get up again the second time and I'll get a hit. Then you can be aggressive. Then you can be aggressive.
Well, I just don't understand how I can get that concept across to.
Well, you know what? You might want to throw BP, and they have to swing it every pitch.
Yeah. Well,
no matter where it is.
What I do is I move the screen up,
right,
and I do underhand toss,
right,
but I put something on it. It's not coming in like slow, and I go, look, you got to swing it every pitch right now because it's going to be in the zone. Right. I want you swinging every pitch right now. Because even if it's a little up, little down, little out, little in, I want you putting the ball in play hard somewhere.
You got to be a hitter, not a taker.
Yeah. Also, on the other side of that, though, I do want them to take pitches better as well. Because a lot of them like to get out on their front side,
right,
instead of being back and, boom, and then making that decision to launch.
Yeah, that's my pet peeve. My pet peeve is most guys aren't ready.
Yeah.
And you can tell a guy's ready by how he takes the pitch. Not how he hits the pitch.
Yeah.
The really good hitters, that ball comes in and they're like they have to stop themselves almost from swinging. It's like that's ready.
Yeah. So and they don't jump across, like their head doesn't move.
No.
Well, I got a lot of kids at the level that I'm at right now. When they're here, and then when they go, even in drills, their head will go
right
and hit like that. And I'm going, no, we want to try and be as quiet as we can with our head and keep it as close to where it starts the whole time. We don't want that. We don't want that drift.
Because where your head goes, your body goes.
Yeah, well, think about that too. If you've ever, when you're moving at something and it's coming at you 90 miles an hour.
Now it's 95.
Yeah, it's harder to see and it's harder to react.
No doubt.
But if your head's still and it's coming at you, then it's boom. When you play catch, you can catch 95.
Right.
No
doubt.
But when your head's moving and it's coming 95 and you're doing that at the same, it's hard. You're making your job way harder.
Couldn't agree more.
You are making your job way harder. And once I figured that out, when I, later in my career, man, it was like night and day. It was like night and day. It was like I could just sit and I could just see a 90 mile an hour fastball look like it was almost standing still sometimes. And it was just easier to hit. And I was and then I started pulling balls on the inner half that I had never in my career pulled before because I could see the ball and I could react to it because I wasn't coming at it every time.
Right.
Which
you jump at it, the inside pitch you're never going to hit.
Yeah. And I would get jammed a lot. Boom. I was like, man, why am I not getting the barrel to that pitch? I see it, but I don't. Right. I just can't get the barrel to it. Now, I started to stay back. I would get the foot down early, way early, in the beginning when I first started to make that adjustment. And then all of a sudden, that inside pitch, I was like, whoa, poof. And I was ripping it over to the dugout like I have never done that before.
Right.
Ever. Now all of a sudden, I'm doing it consistently. So and then I retired. And then I retired. I was like, that's enough. I pulled a couple over third base dugout.
Once you master it, why bother?
Yeah, why bother? I'm good.
I got
I'm
this
out.
game. I'm gonna try something else.
Yeah. That's the one thing about baseball, though, Webbs, man. I'll tell you what. Every day there's something for you to work on. I don't care who you are.
And again, it's like sports is like this. You never have it. You have it for a little bit, and then it goes away, and then you have it for a little bit, and that's hard to deal with. That's why mentally it's tough. It's tough to really excel because you got to really deal with a lot of failure.
In baseball, because
any game. It's a game. These are games of misses. You're going to miss. Quarterback's going to miss. Golf, you're going to miss. And basketball, you're going to have a 3-pointer, you're going to miss. You got to throw another one up.
Yeah, but if those guys were making 30% of what they shot for, they wouldn't be around for long.
Right,
So,
but
yeah, think about a quarterback with a 30% completion percentage.
Right,
he would
but
not
you
be
also
around.
get to hit in baseball. You get to hit foul balls. You get a lot of chances.
Yeah,
They only get one.
That's right. They get one, and then they throw 60 passes a game. So they better be throwing 60% and up if they can do that. But anyway, we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. We did have some technical difficulties, so. But I'll tell you what, it's good to be back. It was good to have this conversation. I look forward to next week as we're getting deeper into, we're getting closer to postseason play. So let's make our World Series predictions really quick, and then we'll sign off. I got the Dodgers and the New York Yankees in the World Series. Who do you got?
I hate to say this, but I just can't get my arms around anything other than a repeat of Dodgers and Astros.
Dodgers and Astros. Okay, fair enough. We'll see how that plays out. But I think if the Yankees are hot and they can get some decent starting pitching, I think they got a chance. I think they can get to the World Series. Will they win it? I don't know about that. But
I'll say this. I'll say this about the Yankees. I said this to a friend of mine today. The flip side of everybody they plug in and have plugged in getting hot and staying hot, the flip side of that is everybody goes cold.
Yeah.
That would be, look, as a manager, I don't care. Part of the manager in me is you never really feel confident until you're throwing champagne on each other and it's a World Series victory. And you're always looking at what can go wrong. That would be my only, all of these guys are Shella and Tauchman and this guy and that guy. You plug, Mike Ford in and everybody. Well, it's only logical to assume that could run out.
Well, you've got to have guys who are hot at the same time. You can't have.
And they've had that all year, irrespective of who's been injured or who's been out. They have plugged in a guy who has just excelled beyond their wildest expectations. And maybe maybe it'll last right through the playoffs and the World Series. But if it doesn't, you could have guys turning into pumpkins at midnight, and now you got a problem.
All right. So before we go, who's your wild card team that you think could come in and wreck everybody's show in the National League and the American League?
Milwaukee.
Okay, Milwaukee. I'm gonna say in the National League, I got the Cardinals coming in and messing everybody up. And
great uniforms.
What's that? They're green uniforms, great uniforms, or green uniforms. And I lost you. All right, folks, we're done.